Graeme, just firstly, you were meeting Bobby Brown there, Rangers' last surviving member of the first treble winning team. Is that put into context how big this club is and what it means when you see somebody like that in '94?
The way he waxes lyrical about the scale of the club and the things that he's seen in his time here and his career subsequent to that actually makes everything else pale a little bit, makes your own achievements seem that much smaller. And it's just his energy at his age to come and have that enthusiasm still for the club. It actually flows through him. So it's very, very humbling actually.
Well, take that on then in terms of the current era. Can you try and pass that across to the team just now?
I think working in this environment, you get a sense of it, you get a feeling of it. Having people like Kenny Miller around the place, even people like Jimmy Bell that have been and worked with some of the greats of Scottish football, the stories he can tell, but the way he holds this club in such high regard really stands out for us to say, this is what it means to be a Ranger. These are the standards that we have to uphold. That's where we want to get back to. That's the level of player, that's the level of person that we aspire to be.
Small steps, but you're starting to get there with the 3 wins now. Are you glad to have that monkey off your back, and is it something good to build on?
I'm glad that it's off the players' back because they're the ones who need to go and perform in a big game on Wednesday. So it's about confidence and making sure the players understand what we did well, where we can still improve. But small steps in building that confidence and building that identity again of the club that we'd like to be and the players that we'd like to go and take that mantle forward.
We were talking earlier about putting out a statement in terms of you've managed to beat Aberdeen. What would it do to beat Hibs as well by setting them back and pushing Rangers forward? You like to beat the people that you're ahead of. You like to make that gap bigger if we can, but it's not about making a statement. It's not about coming out and shouting from the rooftops that we're this or that. It's about playing the game for the game's sake and taking the 3 points if we can. But we know it's going to be difficult, so we have to be really on our game, really on our mettle to go and withstand their challenge and try and do the things that we're good at. But let's play the game for the game's sake, not trying to get too far ahead of ourselves just now. Take the things that we've done and be pleased with it, but realise they're only small steps in where we want to get to. I know you were at Easter Road on Sunday. What did you make of that? Did you leave before? Was it 2-0 when you left?
We left because I don't think that Hibs will play in that manner against us. I don't think we were playing in Celtic's style. So we left and came back and then spent the next 3 or 4 hours watching different games and seeing different formations because we think that Mr. Lennon is quite canny in his formational changes. He changes in-game, he changes from game to game. So I had to get a good feel, firstly for the place, that's why we went. Firstly for the environment our players are going to experience. But then also we had to get a view of their personnel, and we saw some of them against Celtic, but we saw a great deal more in the viewing of the games that we've done subsequent to that.
You mentioned the environment, etc. The last 3 meetings have been feisty, or certainly the last 2 have been very feisty. Do you have to get that across to your players? It might be a white-hot atmosphere. The
players have to deal with it. The players dealt with it against Aberdeen, both at Ibrox and Pittodrie. They have to go and actually embrace that as a Rangers player, go into environments that are hostile or are spiky. That's just part of it, and we have to still be able to go there and be brave and play our stuff. So we have to withstand whatever challenge gets thrown at us. Personnel, environment, even the environment to do with the weather. You have to withstand all of those challenges and be big enough and brave enough to go and play your stuff when you get the opportunity.
How beneficial was the result with Pittodrie in that sense then? It was again another big sort of feisty atmosphere and the boys rose to the occasion. And in terms of getting them to repeat that?
It's getting them to replicate that feeling in the change room afterwards. Recognise how close they were and how upbeat they were after that game. We want that feeling again. The only way you get that feeling again is by doing the small processes on the pitch that lead to a positive result. So we have to get back to that. We have to get back to winning small things, small margins that make all the difference, winning individual battles, playing with a level of intensity that we're capable of, and then not being fazed by different things that may be outside our group.
It's like becoming addicted to winning, essentially. Is that the sort of message you're trying to drive into them?
I think more than anything else, it's having a resilience to deal with stuff. The winning bit will come as a result of processes that we put in place. And the players know that if we do those things well, we're more likely to get a positive result. But it can't just be that we're trying to do 4 in a row or whatever it is. It's about making sure we understand how we get there. because we won't just get there by chance. We'll get there by making sure we have a plan for it and we understand the small steps that will guide us towards it.
The January transfer window's coming up in a couple of weeks. Have you had any discussions, or are you in a position to start looking ahead to that, start planning for that for recruitment?
Our recruitment department and Mark are looking at targets. They're looking at players with the characteristics required to come and play for this football club. We are in daily discussions, but as it comes to closer to that time and to individual players, you'll have to talk to Mark, because he's in charge of that side of it at the moment in the setup that we currently have.
Obviously, January's a very competitive month in that sense. I mean, as you understand that the club's going to be in a position come January the 1st, if it has a target in mind, it can move for it, whether or not there's a permanent manager in place.
I haven't been told otherwise, so you can read into that what you will. I haven't been told anything is going to stop us getting a player that we like, but similarly, we haven't yet been that detailed with specific targets as yet, so that will just have to take care of itself when January comes. Up until that time, we're just going to focus on this game tomorrow.
Graeme, can I just get clarification there? Are you involved at all in identifying targets?
I'm not involved in identifying targets. I'm involved in identifying characteristics and areas of the squad that we possibly need to strengthen. When it comes down to individual targets, it'll be down to Mark and his recruitment team to put a group of targets or a group of available players there, and then selecting the best ones from that group.
Is there links to selection? Sorry.
That hasn't yet to be clarified, but the discussions are ongoing as we speak.
Is there a concern though that because there's not a permanent manager in place, that if there are targets that the club likes, if there's not somebody there to push that case from them, they might miss out on players that they can't?
It's possible, but to be perfectly honest, I think we're buying a little bit of trouble for ourselves if we get focused on it. The squad is as it is at the moment. We identify there are areas we need to strengthen. It's then up to the recruitment group to make sure that those best targets are identified, and as and when a new manager comes in, they will be addressed at that time along with the new manager's targets. If there is no one in place, then I'm sure that other plans will be put into place as well to try and help the squad through what have you said is a busy period.
You spoke of the characteristics of a new signing that you're identifying. What would you say that they need to be?
First and foremost, you have to be able to handle the pressure of being a Rangers player. You have to be able to stand in front of 50,000 when things are tense and the environment is slightly hostile, either here or away from home, and still be confident in your ability to go and play and affect the game. I've said before, it's not enough just to wear a Rangers shirt. You have to contribute something to the game also. You have to make something happen. And if you can do that, and it adds to the whole, then fantastic. That's a big tick in the box.
Do you feel you've got enough of that in the squad at the moment?
In the last 3 games, people have stood up. Big players have stood up and put in big performances when needed. We're going to need that for the rest of the season. And I'm confident that if they look back on what they've done so far, albeit in small steps, we can go and replicate that further on to get us a little bit more success than we've had.
We were just chatting to Josh Wind after he was talking about the togetherness and the closeness as well over the last 3 games. What do you think that was maybe absent before that or under Coutinho?
I've no idea. You'll have a better idea of that than me. I just see the group enjoying success. Success makes things easy for me as a coach and for them as players. When you really find out about the group when you're tested. We were tested against Dundee, and they showed a really good resilience and a great reaction to it. So that gives me confidence for the future going forward, that there is quality and there are those values within the squad to stand up to the challenges. And they'd realise with David Bates and Fabio Cardoso coming into the team, Alfredo coming back into the team, Daniel coming back into the team, that the squad is going to be utilised, so all of the players need to be ready.
Graeme, you said that you would suggest to Mark Allen and the recruitment team where you've identified positions you'd like strengthened. Does the same therefore apply if, for example, you wanted to move a player on? Would you say to the recruitment team?
That's a collaborative effort. That's all of us sitting together. It's not me saying, I think we need to do this. It's all of us sitting together and saying, the squad, the makeup of the squad, could do with X. How do we get that into the squad? If we have too much of something else, we might also say that we need to free up some space. But that won't just be me saying he needs to go. That's not, as I understand it at the moment, my remit in any way, shape or form. If you would like to talk about the makeup of the squad, the composition of the squad, I suggest you have a conversation, book one with Mark Allen.
So therefore, the context that you've compiled in the game over numerous years, Jonathan over numerous years, would you be in a position to say, there is a guy here I think would do as good, or you can't?
I haven't been told that I can't. If I thought I could add anything to the squad or to the whole, I'm perfectly willing and perfectly able to go and knock on Mark's door and say, what do you think? And Mark has made that clear to us that we have to have that open and frank discussion about the squad that we have and anything that we think we can do to strengthen that squad to help us through.
But the ultimate call falls with him as it stands.
As it stands, as far as I'm aware. Mark's in charge of recruitment and the squad composition.
And that includes budgets as well.
Listen, I've got my hands full dealing with games. I've got to deal with an environment at Easter Road tomorrow, and I've got 20 odd players there that I need to make sure are in fine fettle. Budgets are far, far, far out of my remit, and thankfully so.
So you're comfortable with the situation overall then?
Yes, sir.
How's Ross McCrory?
Ross is currently doubtful. Didn't train today. He took a sore one on his foot, but he's a resilient guy. We're hopeful. We just don't want to put too much pressure on him because he's only a young man still. So it wouldn't be appropriate for me as a manager to put too much pressure on him. But we'll see how he comes through tomorrow.
Do you have to save him from himself in a way with the youthful enthusiasm for wanting to play?
I have a distinct lack of sympathy, I've got to say, but we have to be taking care of the player. Player welfare has to come first. And we've got a fantastic medical squad that will give us the best advice that we need and Ross needs as well. So we'll wait a little bit and take our time and we'll make a decision further towards the game.
Can I ask one question to Josh Windass? When he came in earlier on, he said he feels he's now reaping the benefits of playing in the new formation, and he says he's playing in a position that's more suited to him than perhaps what he was playing earlier in the season. How important is it for you, whether you're a caretaker or permanent manager, that you listen to the players and hear what they have to say, where they think is the best position?
Well, as important as that is, and I agree with Josh, I think Josh is reaping the benefits of having a little bit more freedom to go and use his assets going forward. It's also vital that Josh listens to the coaching points from us and from his teammates as to how to play different positions. You've just been talking about Ross McCrory, a young man who's been a centre-half, he's been a right-back, he's now playing as a holding midfield player. He's taken tactical information on board and implemented it really well. Josh, to take his game to another level, possibly needs to do that a little bit better. And we had a really good discussion yesterday about not being fixated on one position, but also bringing different values and different attributes to different positions, not being constrained by his own thoughts or his negative thoughts about that position, but seeing the positives that he can bring to that position. If he were to play in a different one, he still can be destructive and decisive factors in the game from different positions. I don't think he's limited by just playing one. I would like to add to his attributes. I would like to add to his tactical understanding and make him a much more rounded player, because if he does that, then we get much more value from him in the game.
Any other injury news or updates on Graeme?
Graeme's in London at the moment, and Lee Wallace again completed a full training session today, albeit it was indoor with the weather, and he's moving closer towards getting game time. We need to build him up more gradually though and make sure that we get what is appropriate to him at his stage, but really hopeful and really positive what he's been up to in the last few days.
Jordan as well?
Jordan is currently with our medical staff at the moment. He's going through a new course of treatment, and once I have more updates on that, I'll come back to you. It wouldn't be right for me to give you more details on that because we're waiting to get some dates from the medical team.
No other concerns? Sorry, no other injury concerns?
Jack's being checked on his ankle at the moment, Jack Anick. That's why he missed the game at the weekend, but I'll have more from him. He's seeing our medical staff today, so I'll have more updates about 2 o'clock.
So he's out as well for tomorrow?
Yes.
Just going to say, do you have an indication when Graeme might be back?
No, not yet. As I said, he's seeing a specialist today. I'll have more of an indication later on today.
Is it a long term plan?
I've no idea. As I said, I'll have more of an indication later on today.